Hi everyone, my name is Marissa Alva, and today I will be talking to you about the role of sleep in managing symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. You may be asking yourself, what is irritable bowel syndrome? And before I keep going, I just want to tell you that usually we abbreviate that as IBS because irritable bowel syndrome is kind of a mouthful. So I will refer to it as IBS often. So IBS is basically a grouping of symptoms. The cause of IBS has not been truly discovered yet. There are some theories, but no one truly knows. So as of right now, the only research that can happen is around different lifestyle aspects that may contribute to IBS. There are two very common groupings, I guess you could say, of IBS. There's IBS-C and IBS-D. IBS-C stands for irritable bowel syndrome constipation. IBS-D stands for irritable bowel syndrome diarrhea. So typically, you're either going to be really constipated or it's all just going to be coming out of you. And some people experience both constipation and diarrhea. And essentially, what's happening is the colon is just not handling what is inside of it well. It's either moving it through way too fast or way too slow. And as you can imagine, both of those scenarios are not ideal. So as we get into this, I just want to introduce you to my husband. I mean, he's not actually here, but I'm going to tell you about him. His name is Kobe, and I've known him since he was like 18. And at 18, he did not have irritable bowel syndrome, but at 19, he did. It hit him like a ton of bricks, which some of you are probably very familiar with that feeling. Well, at first, I did not understand the extent of these symptoms. I was clueless and quite frankly had no sympathy. Well, then, fast forward a few years, we ended up getting married and my eyes were opened to a whole new world of irritable bowel syndrome. What I learned and have learned and are continuing to learn is very fascinating to me. Two observations I have made about my husband is that when he gets a generous amount of sleep, so for me generous is like 9-10 hours, when he gets a generous amount of sleep, he's usually much happier and usually does not have bad stomach pains or anything during the day. And the second thing I've noticed about him is that his mood affects his stomach pains immensely, like to a crazy extent that I can almost not comprehend. It is fascinating to me. We know that our brains are so powerful and affect our bodies in so many ways, but irritable bowel syndrome to me is one of those prime examples that is very clear to see, at least if you're living in close quarters with somebody. Well, I tell you all of this because I was fascinated when I read this research article about sleep in irritable bowel syndrome patients. This research group took 50 patients, and some of them had IBS, some of them did not. They tracked all of the patients' sleep for 7 nights using a wrist monitor. So they did this, and here's what they found. Basically, irritable bowel syndrome patients tend to have more waking episodes every night than those of us without irritable bowel syndrome. IBS patients also tended to sleep longer than those without IBS, but reported feeling less rested. So basically, someone without IBS could sleep 8 hours. Someone with IBS could sleep 9 hours and still feel like they only slept 8 or 7. And finally, what the researchers threw in, which we definitely all have to keep in mind, is that because of those multiple waking episodes that IBS patients have, sometimes that can affect their mood when they wake up the next day because they're not feeling rested. And in turn, mood can affect their IBS symptoms. So why do I tell you all of this? Great question. We're getting to it. And here it is. Get your sleep. I personally do not know anyone with irritable bowel syndrome that would not like to have those symptoms minimized as much as possible. And it is possible to help those symptoms through a simple thing, something so simple as sleep. So if you walk away with nothing else from listening to this 5-6 minute video, then that you need to go get a little bit more sleep if you have IBS, that's all you need to take away. These things that you're doing now to take care of yourself will pay off. Your body will thank you, and those, just keep in mind that you are not the typical person. Take care of your body, be in tune with it, and give yourself the sleep that you need. Thank you.